What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and today we got some news about Cory Booker, and I wanted to talk about that news, but also how that might affect the Democratic candidate nomination pool and for the other candidates, and get into some of that. So if you want to stay tuned with that, make sure you continue watching. And if it's your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam. Those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. Those of you who are returning, you better be pressing that like button. It's the second video you've watched. Okay, so what news came out today? Well, as you can see here, let's just Google this again. So you see here, 44 minutes ago, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 day ago. So what happened was the Cory Booker campaign says it's in danger of dropping out of the 2020 presidential race. That was from the Inquirer, Philadelphia Inquirer. Politic Us USA. Cory Booker may drop out of president rate if he doesn't raise $1.7 million in the next 10 days. By the way, 10 days puts us at the end of September. Cory Booker will drop out of presidential race within the next days if he can't raise $2 million. Memo reveals. Cory Booker hints at ending White House bid as fundraising slumps. Which candidates are left in the 2020 race? New York City's Bill de Blasio drops out. So I think this was old though. Okay, so I didn't find the memo. That would have been nice to actually take a look at the memo, but I wasn't able to find it. But I did find a tweet from Cory that I'm about to get into after this article. So the next one out, this is from NBCnews.com. Next one out. Booker memo warns he may not be in 2020 race much longer. So he has to build and hire and travel. Like, you constantly have to be flying back and forth, right? And if you pull up, actually I pulled this up. If it takes a lot of money to run a campaign, and I think that there's people, and I think that there's the context of what people say, right? Like the words that come out of their mouth and what they say. But then there's also how to run the organization efficiently, right? Because next we want to take a look at how much money they've raised. So they need to raise $1.7 million according to this. Could just be a stunt, right, to try to get people into raising more money. However, in the tweet, which we're about to go over, he claims otherwise. So this is called OpenSecrets.org, and they aggregate all of the donations that the candidates raise. So we've got a list here, and this is reported quarterly, so I'm sure these numbers are off. So Trump has raised the most, followed by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala, Biden, and then I don't even know who this guy is, John Delaney or something. I don't know who that person is, but he was not in the debate. That's why he's not included in our rankings here. But Cory, right? So Cory's raised $12.2 million, right? But see who would still be in the race, right? Like if he dropped out, who else would still be in the race as of right now? Like we probably expect the field to narrow over the next 60 days, but who would be left if he were to drop out, right? Well, Beto would probably still be in there. Amy would still be in there. I think Tulsa's already dropped out. Andrew Yang's still in there. Castro's still in there. I have no idea who these other people are, so I'm just not even... I think Tom Steyer is also going to be in the debate in October, and I have no idea who any of these other people are. I'm pretty sure this person dropped out. Yeah, anyways, I think these are just nobody. It's like, right, Bill de Blasio, he dropped out a couple days ago, as we just saw by the headline. Anyways, okay, so think about that, though. We have a bunch of people that are left that are less than Cory Booker in terms of fundraising, and they're still going to stay in the race. So, to me, on the surface level, I see this as when you have the money, you have to be able to spend it the most effective way to get the results you want, right? Like in business, I enjoy business, and if I want the results, right, and I only have a limited resource, like a certain amount of money, I have to be able to use this money the most effective way to get the results I want. So if they're running out of money, and there's a bunch of other people that are less than them that have raised significantly less. The only person who's raised about the same is Beto, right? Which, and I'm going to go over the polling data so you get to see where these people rank. So Cory Booker has raised more than Amy. So Amy and Beto have raised about, and Cory have all raised about the same. Basically, the only people that are going to be left in that have raised less, so Andrew Yang has raised a lot less. Julian Castro has raised a lot less. And then Tom Steyer, I think he's just spending his own money. Basically, and I have no idea how much other money he's raised. I'm sure if you're a billionaire, you probably have friends that have money. So I would assume that he's probably raised a decent sum that will come out at the end of this quarter. But how is Cory doing in the polling? Right, we're going to get into our polling, but we're going to get into some other polling as well, relative to, say, Castro and Yang, right? Because he's ahead of them in terms of fundraising. But let's take a look at the actual surveys to see. So we have a survey from USA Today, and then we have the polling data that we do. So this is from Cory Booker tweet from, well, this article came out about 3 hours ago. So Cory Booker replying to Cory Booker. This isn't end of quarter stunt. Supposedly it's not a stunt. This is real, unvarnished look under the hood of our campaign at a level of transparency unprecedented in presidential politics. We're at a crossroads in this campaign. We need 1.7 million by September 30th to be in a position to build the organization we need to compete for the nomination, and we can do this. But if we don't see a legitimate long-term path forward. That's kind of interesting. I didn't need to actually click on that, but if you want to jump over to Instagram or Twitter and say what's up, my profile here is Sam_A_Stoltz. So jump over there and say what's up. Anyways, okay, so let's go into the surveys. So we have a survey. This one came out a couple days ago. When did it come out? The 17th. So today's the 21st. This came out a couple days ago. And what we have here, and I looked through this article twice from USA Today to see what the N is. What is the N? The N is the population size of this survey, right? So excuse me. What we did is they have them stack ranked here, and Cory looks like he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. He's ranked 8th, right? Which is very similar to our ranking, but it has a lot more data in it than what's in this one. So let's jump over to ours. We have him ranked on a few different factors here. So first we have it based on YouTube search volume and Google search volume. The reason we use Google search volume is because we have the data, but second of all, because it's the biggest site on the entire planet. And he is ranked number 7 based on the search volume. So we take each candidate's name and we search for it on Google Trends, and then we compare them in different time periods. We stack rank them in each one of these time periods, the 12-month, the 3-month, and the 1 month, to see who comes out ahead. Cory is at 7th. So let's jump over to YouTube. At YouTube, so this is exactly the same thing. We took all their names, we put them into Google Trends, Google owns YouTube, to see what the volume of searches are for each one of these candidates at different time periods. And again, he came out number 7, right? So there's no subjectivity, there's no bias in this in terms of asking a question or the sample size being big enough. This is based on millions and millions of searches for these candidates' names over the past 12 months, past 3 months, and past month. So to me, this is more representative of what America's actually thinking than this, right? However, they happen to be similar for this candidate. They're not similar for all the candidates. for example, draw your attention to Andrew Yang right here. Right, he is coming up. Let's see, 4th on their poll, and let's look on Google. He is also 4th. Wait a second, is that right? 1, 2, 3. He's 5th, and then he's 4th here. And we look at the YouTube ranking. He is number 1 on YouTube. So YouTube is the 2nd biggest site on the entire planet. To be the 2nd biggest site on the entire planet requires a tremendous amount of people to be on the site. A tremendous amount of people. And that leads drawing. Next, we took a look at their websites. Why do we look at their websites? Because I think the website is an indicator of people that are actually more willing to take the extra step, right? Like they're going to actually go to their website, potentially donate, read more about the person. So that's why we have their ranking in here. We have based on 3 different factors. We've got page views, the amount of time people spend on the site, and the popularity of their site in the U.S., right? And then we took an average of those and then we stack ranked them. So it looks like when we first did this, and then we did it again 3 days ago, he was 9th overall 3 days ago, and 9th when we did it about 2 weeks ago. Facebook. We did the same thing on Facebook. We took a look at the follower gain and loss, right? And we looked at it as a growth rate. He's number 10. He actually was losing. And this one was done on 9/8. So he was 10th in that, and then he was 10th here. So this is the overall ranking. So we did a ranking based upon the growth rate of the followers, and there was actually a couple other factors in here, but I just left them out. So we took all of them, we took an average of them, and he's ranked 10th on Facebook out of all these candidates. And Twitter, he's ranked 10th on Twitter. By the way, if you want to see any of the analysis on these other ones, like I'm going through them really quickly now, check out the channel. I do a deep dive analysis on, say, Twitter. So it's like 20, 30 minutes long. You can go watch the full analysis to understand exactly where these numbers come from, how I get them, and how I do that analysis. So on Twitter, he's ranked 10th. Let's take a look at his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is ranked 6th, so he's doing best on YouTube with his YouTube channel. This is the highest ranking we see him. Let's take a look at donations. He's ranked number 9th. So with donations, unlike this, where we were just looking at the absolute dollar amount, with donations we actually looked at 3 different things. So what we did is we took a look at let me pull this up really quick. There we go. Okay, so what we did is we took a look at the percentage of donations that come from small donors. And what is a small donor? How we defined it is donors that donate $200 or less, because that's more representative to me of what America is thinking about, right? People who, $200 is a lot of money to a lot of people. So we stacked ranked him on there. He was 10. Then we looked at the total number of donors that have donated to the campaign. He was number 9 in that stack ranking. You can see he had about 100,000 people donate to his campaign, and there's a lot of people who have over in the 100,000s. Next, we have the savings rate. What is the savings rate, and is a high or low savings rate good? Well, with the savings rate, what we took a look at is the amount of money they spend and the amount of money they raised, and you can calculate the savings rate. Basically, if they raised $10 million and they spent $8 million, then you get a 20% savings rate, right? So look at Pete, right? He raised a shitload of money. He's kind of in the top 5 sometimes for what the rankings that we're looking at. And he's saving 70% of the money he takes in. I think he needs to figure out a way to spend that money more effectively to really move the needle forward and gain some more attention. Like even on the rankings that come from other people who like the USA Today, where's Pete? Pete's number 6, right? And in a lot of the rankings we look at, Pete is not like, say, the Google rankings, right? Where's Pete? Pete's number 6 there. For YouTube, he is number 4. For, what is this, the website, he is number 5. For Facebook, he is number 2. Twitter, he's number 5. Here is number 6 for the YouTube channel, and the donations, he is number 6. So a high savings rate, how I'm defining it, right, is the percentage of money that's saved left over a low savings rate is good in my eyes, because in order to know how to run ads from a digital standpoint, whether you're doing it on Twitter, whether you're doing it on Facebook, whether you're doing it on YouTube, whether you're doing it on Instagram, to run ads effectively, and plus a lot of these candidates like spend copious amounts of money on fucking TV ads. There's definitely a portion of the population that watches those for sure. It's just much more expensive than doing it through digital, and I think you can get a much higher ROI on your money. You just have to have a lot more thought into doing it from a digital standpoint. Anyways, if you're saving 70%, like fucking spend some of that money to move up in the rankings, bro. Okay, so anyways, those are the three factors. Overall, Cory's number 9th, right? And when we take an average of all these things that we just looked at, right? The Google, YouTube, website, Facebook, Twitter, their YouTube channel, and the donations. Remember, we have YouTube search over here, and then we have the YouTube channel over here. So they're a little bit different. And we take an average of all of those. We come up with an overall ranking. And he's tied for 9th. So if he were to lose, he would be 10th. Overall, he's just not doing super great. So it's understandable why he might move out, right? Overall in our ranking, he's tied with Amy Kubuachacha or whatever. And she hasn't mentioned anything about dropping out of the race yet. Let's see. How much money did she raise? Where the fuck is... Oh, here she is. So she raised almost the same amount of money as him. And I have seen some upward trends in her stuff. But Cory does not seem like he's doing super well at all. So what would that mean? What would that mean for the rest of the field? Well, because the field is so wide at this point, there's so many candidates that are still in the field. I think if we saw an exodus of a handful of candidates over the next... in a relatively short period of time, I think that could actually be bad for the remaining candidates who are not in the top like 3 spots. Because and Ken, who left a comment over on LinkedIn, had some very thoughtful considerations too, similar to that, where Ken, if you watch this, thank you for that information. But if you have a bunch of people drop out relatively quickly, the media is more than likely just going to say that it's, oh, well, it's all these people and not even really give any of their information and just talk about, like, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren or something like that, where it's just they're going to talk about the top 3 people. And they'll be like, oh, Kamala Harris comes up 4th, or Pete comes up 4th, and they're just going to put forward those candidates because that's what the media is going to talk about. But in reality, I don't think that is the case. So I think if Cory drops out, that would probably be a good thing. If we have Cory, if we have Amy, Beto, and Julian all dropped out in like a very short period of time, that would be very interesting to see what happens, because it could go the other way too, where those people who are supporting these like second tier or people who just don't have a lot of awareness, that those people might not shift to the top 3 candidates or 4 candidates. They might go to more of a out of the ordinary, somebody who they haven't heard of, because they don't want the establishment of Joe Biden. They don't want the establishment of Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. So it could be interesting to see how this plays out in the future. I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know down below in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to see other videos like this in the future. I've got the updated YouTube rankings probably coming in the next day. So press that subscribe button and the bell notification, and YouTube will notify you every time I post a video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, the breakout. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend.